Hood in Texas, an attempted bombing in Times Square, and the underwear bomber in Detroit in Christmas of '09. Congressman Peter King, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, with me in studio, and good morning to you.
Bill, good to be with you.
3 topics I want to go through here with you. First, the news in Afghanistan. Is this the new normal for U.S. forces there?
I certainly hope not. We're going to have to make it clear we're not going to tolerate this. I think the president has to make it clear to President Karzai there has to be better internal controls. And listen, I support the mission in Afghanistan, but if this continues and we don't get the support from the Afghan government, then it's going to be very difficult for us to continue the mission.
Well, that's a relationship that needs to stay strong, or in fact could get stronger.
Right.
Eric Holder later today, do you anticipate a problem with the message he will deliver?
I certainly hope not. I mean, first of all, I don't know why he's even forced to give this speech. It's really a reflection on us as a country that we have to defend why we're killing the enemy. But I hope, first of all, he lays out a good case because it's a very solid legal case. To me, there's no doubt we have the right to do it. I hope in doing it, though, he doesn't throw in the usual apologies, doesn't accuse the Bush administration of torture and how they've changed things around now, the Obama administration. We have the absolute right to do this. No need to equivocate. No need to apologize. We're going to do it and continue doing it if we're going to win this war.
So on the surface, you're okay with this?
Yeah, I think because of the situation, he should do it. I just hope that he's down the line and makes it clear we have the absolute right to kill our enemies.
We will listen for those headlines. At 10 o'clock Eastern Time here in New York City, you're attending an event that will show support for what the police commissioner has initiated here in New York, and that is to monitor Muslims and Muslim Americans living in New York City. You'll say it's justified. You'll argue in favor of it. Give us the logic why.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Kelly and the NYPD should get a medal for what they're doing. They're carrying out surveillance in the areas where we expect the next terrorist attack to come from. This is not anti-Muslim. Just like when they were going after the mafia, they went to Italian-American communities. When they were going after the Westies, they went to the Irish-American communities. The fact is the overwhelming majority of Muslims are good people, but the terrorists, 99 out of 100, are going to come from the Muslim community. What Ray Kelly has done is he stopped 13 or 14 attacks already against New York. We are the #1 terrorist target. Terrorism does not stop at the state lines or the city lines. The 1993 attack came from New Jersey. And Ray Kelly does everything he does is legal, it's constitutional. And I think the New York Times, the Associated Press are disgracing themselves by the slanderous attacks on the NYPD.
Would you expect to double down on this policy? And if so, would you think that would be a better approach?
I would support Ray Kelly doing what he believes has to be done. He has 1,000 police officers working on counterterrorism. New York will never get repaid enough for the work it does. They've stopped the attacks. And I think as far as carrying out surveillance, it's absolutely essential, and to follow terror wherever it comes from.
Peter King, thank you. We'll look for that event coming up in 40 minutes. Appreciate you coming to studio today before that gets underway. Peter King, the congressman from New York.
The NYPD's controversial surveillance of Muslim groups is gaining some support. The department now has the backing of a prominent Muslim American group. News 4's Catherine Craig is live outside one police plaza in Lower Manhattan to explain all of this. Catherine?
Yes, it was a pretty big gathering, Tom. A few dozen people were here at one police plaza, the NYPD headquarters. You had local Muslim leaders, also Muslims from Canada, and then a high-profile lawmaker. You had Congressman Peter King, and they all had the same message. In the shadow of NYPD headquarters, Congressman Peter King stood shoulder to shoulder with Muslim leaders. They spoke of their unwavering support for the NYPD's surveillance program, which monitors places where Muslims frequent in and outside of New York City.
The NYPD is not spying. The NYPD is carrying out effective surveillance. If they were not doing what they are doing, to me, they would be negligent and they'd be remiss in their duties.
We stand behind transparency in police work. We do not feel that Americans, in no way do we want to be spied on, but this is not about spying. It's about monitoring and public programs.
But opponents of the surveillance program call it spying. There have been recent protests criticizing the NYPD. Some say the surveillance is discriminatory and wrong.
Only a full investigation by New Jersey will find that the NYPD has committed a grave mistake in spying on an entire community solely because of its faith.
Some Muslim leaders in New Jersey over the weekend are calling for a state investigation after the NYPD monitored a mosque in Newark. While some local and state leaders in New Jersey question the NYPD's actions, Muslims at this gathering believe the police department isn't overstepping its bounds.
We are on the side of the United States of America, its government, its police forces.
And some thought there might be a counter protest here at police headquarters. That was not the case. But one person who was here at the gathering said as long as there are protests against the NYPD, they'll have gatherings like this one until further notice. Reporting from police headquarters, Catherine Craig, News 4 New York.
Catherine, thank you.
Well, an interesting moment in New York City today as Muslim activists rally in front of police headquarters, showing their support for the NYPD's surveillance of Islamic communities. A stark contrast to the criticism the program has received in recent days from a range of politicians and liberal groups who are worried about racial profiling or religious profiling. Rick Leventhal is live at One Police Plaza with more. Rick?
And Megan, the turnout for this event wasn't dramatic, about 36 American Muslims, but they say they represent a silent majority of the community who appreciate and understand the aggressive monitoring of mosques and Muslim student groups and other organizations just to see if there might be ties to radical Islam. The NYPD Commissioner Ray Kelly has made no apologies for this program, saying New York City has been and will continue to be a #1 target for terror, evidenced by the 93 World Trade Center bombing and, of course, the 2001 attacks, and there have been many more attempts to strike New York since then. The commissioner says the only way to stop it is to police inside and outside city limits. And among the supporters, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, who helped create a film about radical Islam that was shown to the NYPD that helped spark the current controversy.
We are not here to criticize the NYPD, but rather to thank them for doing a lot of the work that we as Muslims should be doing, which is monitoring extremism, following extremism, and helping counter the ideologies that create radicalization in our communities.
Of course, there have been vocal protests to the NYPD policies, including this one outside of Fordham University Law School over the weekend where the commissioner was speaking. Ray Kelly said that his department follows strict guidelines and, quote, a broad base of knowledge is critically important to our ability to investigate terrorism. It was precisely our failure to understand the context in '93 that left us vulnerable in 2001. By the way, New York Congressman Peter King was among those here today, Megan. He called Ray Kelly a hero, and some of the Muslim leaders said that people in their group call him a hero too, but you might not hear it publicly.
Interesting. Rick, thank you.